I know my grandparents uh, were came to California from the Midwest,
Oh, okay.
and that's pretty much the extent of all I know right now. I do know my ancestors are from Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah,
Get excited.
so that's pretty cool. So I've embraced that.
So is that where the patty comes in, or
Yeah, it is.
that's so
It
cool.
is. Paddy is Irish for Patrick.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess the question is, your parents, how did kind of they meet, and how did you kind of come into the picture?
Well, to dispel any rumors, I was born, not hatched.
Mm.
Um, they met in Oregon,
Oh.
and they knew each other 6 weeks, and they got married, and they're off and running. My dad was a cop,
Oh.
and my mom was a dental hygienist back in the day. And my father's law enforcement career took him all the way down the coast, from Oregon all the way down to Yuma, Arizona, and then finally here to Anaheim.
And I imagine, have you been to Oregon? Did they take you back to where they were from, or?
No, my father was born in Glendale.
Oh, excuse
So
me. Okay.
we know that. My mother was born and raised in Modesto.
Oh, they just
And
met in Oregon.
Yeah,
That's such an interesting interaction. Yeah.
yeah. And they grew up during the Depression, of course.
Mm.
My mom grew up on basically a farm, so she
Mm.
was a country girl, and
That's
very
awesome.
humble beginnings. Very humble.
So, do you have a lot of brothers, sisters? Are you like the firstborn, or?
I have one brother, no sisters,
Mm.
and he's gone now. He passed away of COVID last year,
Jeez.
and I'm still upset over that because he was an anti-vaxxer.
Hmm. It hits home sometimes.
It does.
And tell me about kind of like the childhood experience. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in a coastal town near the Oregon border
Mm.
called Crescent City.
Okay.
My dad was chief of police there when I was born.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he got into a tussle with the city council and he decided it was time to leave. So that's when we headed down to Yuma. He was the first sergeant the Yuma Police Department ever had.
Whoa.
And because of the corruption and
Mm.
all of that, he basically had to take us out of Yuma, and that's when we settled in Anaheim.
So your father seems like a very for justice, noble type of person.
Oh, absolutely.
He really believed in the cause. Do you feel like that was a big thing you picked up when you were a kid?
That was a major influence on me, is
Mm.
honesty, integrity, of course. He was a disciplinarian, and
Kept you and your brother straight.
that's it. I'm sorry?
Kept you and your brother on the straight and narrow.
Well, it kept me on the straight and narrow for the most part, but my brother, no, he was a loose cannon. He and my mom did not get along at all.
Yeah.
So he took off for the army.
Oh.
He wanted to follow my dad's footsteps because he admired my dad so much.
Hmm.
And my dad fought in World War II in the Philippines, and he
Whoa.
had a whole um, array of medals from there. And he wanted to go into the military so he could get medals. And my dad said, no,
Mm.
you don't go in the military to get medals.
Mm.
I didn't want them,
Mm.
but that's what happened. My father grew up very poor, so he went into the army, believe it or not, just so he would have clothes to wear.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about people are not built like they're used to. I imagine that your father's the life experiences hit home, especially, you know.
It did
And
very much.
so, kind of growing up with a kind of father who's kind of been through war.
Hmm.
Do you feel like he? I want to say you said he was a disciplinarian, but do you feel like he held the same high standards for you guys as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was a disciplinarian, but he was fair.
Okay, that's
Okay.
okay.
I got to make sure that he didn't just do it because
Yeah.
there was always a reason for it.
It felt necessary.
Yeah.
So, describe yourself as a child. Were you kind of the same as now, or were you super outgoing, kind of shy,
Oh,
composed?
no way. I was incredibly shy. I couldn't even speak in front of my own class.
Whoa.
I would take an F rather than stand up and read an essay or something like that. I just could not do it.
Hmm. And what was that? What is that? Was it more of a fear thing, or was it more of just like you know who you are and you just that's just something you're not?
That's the way I was at the time. I was incredibly shy, incredibly insecure.
Mm.
I was very introverted,
Mm.
and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. When I joined Boy Scouts, that opened up things for me, but I was still so incredibly insecure. Here's a bombshell for you, Giovanni. When I was 8 years old, I was molested.
Whoa.
Yeah, by a neighbor's
Whoa.
son. And that had such an impact on me, and that's really when I started really withdrawing. And it was really hard. I was bullied a lot. I was teased a lot. Being overweight, they took advantage of that. I didn't have long hair, and I got nailed for that.
Whoa. So it wasn't like you were you didn't really have a safe space. It seems.
No, there was no
Whoa.
such thing as a safe space back then.
So where was the outlet? How do you
Music.
music?
When I got into junior high, I got involved in the choir, and that saved my life pretty much because there were a few times I contemplated suicide because I just couldn't take it, especially in junior high, because not only did I have to tolerate the bullying, the taunting, and everything,
Yeah.
but it was during that period when the Jesus movement started, the born-again Christians and all of this. And the Calvary Chapel in Costa Mesa, they were just starting. They had big revivals for the young people, the teens, in a huge revival tent. It was before the church was built. And I was hounded by the born-again Christians. And it was, have you been saved? And what is your birthday? So I tell them, they say, no, when was your rebirth day? I don't have one. And they said, haven't you been saved? Well, yeah. And they say, when? I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I've always had a faith. Even though I am a Catholic, that's my religion. But I follow my faith, which I think is much more important.
Yeah. So choir was a big thing.
So choir was a big thing for me. My mom.
How did you find it? How did you land into that? Was it just you kind of was like, hey, Mom, I want to kind of do this? Do you have friends who were looking into it, or?
I knew a few people, a couple of friends that got involved in the choir, and I figured, oh no, I'll try it too. And
Were you a tenor, bass?
I was a bass.
Oh, I can hear it. I can hear it. The bass from coming in, and
And it was an escape for me. It really was. My mother, she was undiagnosed with depression. She had a back and neck injury. She was on so many meds that I would come home, I never knew what mood she was in. One day she would be a complete, forgive me, Mom, a complete terror. And I just cringe walking through the door. The next day, she could be happy as a lark, baking cookies and all of this, asking how my day is and all that. If it was a bad day for her, I just went to my room. I just couldn't deal with it. And I didn't do drugs in that sense, but let's just say I'm the reason that they lock up the airplane model glue. That was one of my other escapes. It was a short one, but while it was there, that was good.
So, Patty, knowing you now, you have this glee about you. I imagine that kind of singing brings that out of people. I think music has this way of just kind of like, even when someone's in the dark place and despair, you have a sense of just like there's hope,
Oh, there's always hope. I'm bipolar with anxiety myself.
Hmm.
And of course, I'm on meds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stable.
Hmm.
I do have my down days
Sure.
and I do have my up days, but I'm stable now. I don't have the extreme ups. I don't have the extreme lows, which really you don't want to experience.
Right. Right. Right.
Because when you're low, you're really low. I mean, it's deep pit of despair. It's really bad. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you are so high and hyper and happy and everything else, you drive everybody nuts.
So if you're sitting here like I mean the middle, so you're probably like what 10, right? Around this time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, junior high, 10 and 10 maybe, 10 11. This was like 2 years after this whole craziness debacle happened with your neighbor.
Yeah.
And I know this is a different time. What year is this? Am I asking?
This was in the late 60s.
Oh yeah, there is no such thing as mental. There's no
nope.
such thing as counseling. There's
Nothing.
like you're just on an
Absolutely
island.
nothing. You're on an island. You'd wind up swallowing it. I know a couple of kids that actually did commit suicide
Jeez.
because they couldn't handle the depression.
Any close friends at this time you think you can remember? Any people that you can by name you met? Yeah, there was this guy who we would hang out, or anyone during this time?
Yeah, there was one guy in particular. His name's Tim, and he and I are still friends after all these years. And he helped me quite a bit. I mean, I never told him what happened with me or anything until we had grown up.
Sure.
But he helped me stay on the straight.
That's awesome. And can you describe Tim at like how I don't know how soon you guys met, but
We've known each other since grade school.
oh wow, so you know each other for a long time.
Yeah.
What is his personality like?
Very outgoing. He loved mechanics, fixing cars and everything. In high school, he and a friend of his would rebuild Volkswagen engines.
Yo.
That's how he got started. And he manages a repair shop now, so I trust him with all my cars. So I wouldn't go to anybody else.